This is the show that respects your intelligence. We honor you as a citizen, and we bring you the facts. Now, the mainstream media has been telling you for 2 weeks now that there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. They have said this despite the existence of, well, evidence. When hundreds of people signed sworn affidavits, some of them alleging widespread voter fraud, that is the literal definition of evidence. And we've talked about some of those stories before. Now, 2 men have been charged with 41 counts for allegedly submitting thousands of fraudulent voter registration applications on behalf of homeless people. And here to break it all down for us is Joe Weber with Just the News. Joe, thanks for joining us today.
Eric, thanks for having me back. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you bet, man. So tell us, who's been charged and what have they been charged with?
2 men, Carlos Montenegro and Raul Alvaro. So they were charged Monday by the Los Angeles County District Attorney, 41 counts of voter fraud, 8,000 applications they attempted. This was a brazen scheme.
Wow.
And what they really tried to do was Mr. Montenegro, he was running for the mayor of Hawthorne. So let me break this down for you. The first thing he did is he falsified some documents. Now, of course, if you're going to run as a mayor, you're going to run as a write-in, you need some people to submit some votes or some certifications saying, I'm writing in for this guy, I'm writing in for this guy. He forged them. The county clerk was wise to that, tipped him off. See, something wasn't quite right. Some of the addresses didn't quite match up. So that's when the district attorney's office launched its investigation, and the FBI is now involved too. They found thousands and thousands of these applications and these voter applications in a hotel. And what he had done, with the help, Carlos, with the help of Mr. Alvaro, was used 3 mailboxes that were dummied and his home address. He told his mom, according to the local newspaper, homeless people need to vote too.
Wow, and we're talking about 8,000 applications.
Yeah.
So where do these guys get 8,000 names of folks who they can fraudulently claim are gonna?
We don't know yet, and that's what's the most interesting part about it. How do you get 8,000 names? These are not only homeless people, but these were dead people, people who had allegedly moved out of state. We don't know. Somebody had to have access to an 8,000 number, a voter roll of 8,000. I think there's more here to this than that we know right now.
Wow. And Joe, as you've been digging into this, what else have you learned about the story?
Well, I mean, I think that the larger issue here is that what we've seen once you start really digging in to the voter rolls, November 3rd, around this election cycle, there may be really just a need for a national sort of standard for this. I mean, once you go poking around, you're starting to find out all types of, be it widespread or minor, but voter fraud nevertheless, and people trying to manipulate ballots and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I understand there might be some connection here to gang activity. Is that right?
Oh yeah, that what the prosecutor said yesterday during the arraignment, that Mr. Montenegro was backed by MS-13. They financed him in an attempt to get somebody in as the mayor of Hawthorne.
Wow, so MS-13 was involved in backing this effort to create 8,000 fraudulent voters in
according to the prosecutors,
California.
Yes.
Wow, wow. And Joe, how did the prosecutors, you mentioned they first learned about this when there were some suspicions around some of the write-in votes.
Right, yeah.
How does it get to a point, though, where somebody can actually fraudulently fill out 8,000 of these applications?
Well, fortunately, they didn't get into the system. They managed to catch the sharpness of the clerk evidently allowed them to flag this and catch it before they actually got into the system. I think just maybe several hundred maybe got into the system, but they flagged this before they were all got infiltrated into the system. That's where they found all of these in this hotel room.
Wow.
Motel room, excuse me.
Yeah, and Joe, what do we, and just in the few kind of 20 to 30 seconds that we have left, what's the next step in this case likely to be?
I would imagine, from what I know, that the prosecutors are going to try to look at 2 things: how they got their hands on, the names of 8,000, or did they go out and talk to homeless people? I mean, imagine you couldn't talk to 8,000 people, right?
Yeah.
You had to have access to voter rolls.
I think, Joe, we're gonna have to leave it there. But really, really important story. Thanks for following it for all of us, folks. Again, that's Joe Weber at Just the News. You can see the story at justthenews.com. 8,000 applications, voter fraud.